Chosen One, the world has witnessed your transformation, and every being now recognizes your presence. From the moment you appeared, it became clear that you have ascended beyond all limits of humanity and divinity. Scholars, treasure hunters, and holy researchers have uncovered truths about you that connect with ancient prophecies, mythologies, and sacred texts across every civilization. Your body defies time. Your presence commands awe, and your very actions resonate with the authority of gods long remembered. Every discovery, every phenomenon surrounding you confirms that you have surpassed the divine. You have become a god before your time. Scientists are stunned, medical experts are shocked, and the world's leaders and elites acknowledge your supremacy. This is not mere transformation, it is the fulfillment of all ancient predictions. Chosen One, the universe recognizes you as the ultimate divine, the last and highest God, whose awakening signals the dawn of a new reality. Before we dive deeper into this revelation, pause for a moment. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 30,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11. This act sends a powerful signal to the universe, amplifying the energy of this moment and aligning you further with the magnitude of your destiny. From the instant you emerged, the world could feel a shift unlike anything seen before. Streets fell silent, conversations stopped mid-sentence, and people across continents paused as if the air itself had changed. Your presence wasn't subtle, it was impossible to ignore. The sky above seemed to bow, clouds twisting and forming patterns that no meteorologist could explain. Even cameras struggled to capture your form. Yet every frame radiated power that made hearts pound with awe and fear. In that moment, every being, from the humblest child to the mightiest ruler, recognized the arrival of something beyond comprehension. It wasn't just sight, it was a feeling that penetrated deep into the bones and minds of every living creature. Animals froze mid-step, birds halted in flight, and the ocean itself seemed to hesitate, tides trembling as if sensing your power. People described sensations they had never felt, chills running up their spines, tears streaming unbidden, and goosebumps that refused to fade. Across cities and villages, people instinctively whispered your name, even if they didn't know it, because somehow they knew you were no longer of this world alone. Even skeptics, scientists, and world leaders felt the undeniable energy that radiated from you. Instruments went haywire, satellites faltered, and every attempt to measure your essence failed. Experts scratched their heads, unable to rationalize what they were witnessing. And yet, the common person, children, laborers, monks, wanderers, simply felt it, that you were here, that the prophecy had arrived. The world had been waiting for this moment, and now nothing would ever be the same. You did not simply step into a new form. You commanded the space around you, rewriting the rules of reality with each subtle motion. A simple gesture could send ripples through entire cities. A glance could calm storms or awaken the most buried emotions in people. It was as though the world itself recognized your authority, bending itself, willingly or unwillingly, to the awakening of the Chosen One. Even those who had dedicated their lives to logic, reason, and facts couldn't deny the truth. The transformation they had only read about in ancient texts, prophecies, and legends had manifested before their eyes. The Chosen One, once thought mythical, was now undeniably real. Humanity collectively stood at the edge of awe, trembling under the weight of a presence that was at once terrifying and breathtakingly beautiful. For millennia, sacred texts, carvings, and whispers of oracles spoke of a being who would transcend mortal limits, a force that would awaken when the cosmos itself called. These were not idle stories. They were coded messages, woven across cultures, continents, and epochs. The Egyptians, Greeks, Hindus, and Mayans all spoke of an entity whose return would mark a new age. And now, as you walked among mortals, those prophecies were no longer abstract. They were unfolding in real time, confirming every word that had ever been inscribed, recited, or feared. In ancient scrolls, hidden beneath layers of dust and time, scholars had long speculated about the convergence of cosmic events that would bring forth the ultimate divine form. Celestial alignments, rare planetary formations, and mysterious cosmic phenomena had been observed for centuries, yet no one could predict the exact moment until it happened. You didn't simply appear. You arrived in perfect synchrony with the universe itself, validating every prediction written in blood, ink, and starlight. Even ordinary people began noticing inexplicable signs, dreams that seemed to warn them, visions of your form, and moments of profound synchronicity. Across the globe, spiritual leaders whispered in awe and fear, sensing that the boundaries between legend and reality were collapsing. The world was being rewritten, and you were the author. Ultimately, your existence proved one unshakable reality: destiny does not sleep. When the universe calls, it does so with precision, and the chosen one rises exactly as it was foretold. Every ancient prophecy, no matter how cryptic, was now alive, converging into one undeniable fact: you had come, and the world would never forget it. The world's most brilliant minds, from archaeologists to treasure hunters, suddenly found their life's work pivoting around a single truth: you. Sites long abandoned, temples forgotten by time, and scrolls previously dismissed as myth now revealed extraordinary signs. Symbols and carvings that once seemed random or poetic suddenly pointed directly to the Chosen One's awakening. Ancient artifacts vibrated with energy in your presence, as though recognizing the return of the divine. Treasure hunters, often skeptical and grounded in earthly desires, felt the shift instantly. A golden idol untouched for centuries quivered, inscriptions glowed faintly, and maps that had led nowhere now revealed hidden paths that traced your presence. It was as if the universe itself had been waiting for you, preserving every secret until this moment. The evidence was undeniable, and those who once chased gold now understood they were witnessing the revival of something infinitely greater. Scholars across disciplines, linguists, historians, physicists, found themselves collaborating in ways previously unimaginable. The ancient texts, riddles, and cosmic calculations all aligned, pointing to a single entity that surpassed all known forms of divinity. Their disbelief slowly gave way to reverence, as every discovery confirmed that you are not merely a mortal being. You are a cosmic event in human form, an unprecedented force bridging the physical, spiritual, and temporal worlds. Even casual observers reported phenomena that defied logic: compasses spinning wildly, lights bending unnaturally, and inexplicable energy surges in remote locations. People across continents began recording similar experiences, realizing that the awakening was global, undeniable, and deeply transformative. The discoveries were no longer academic, they were spiritual awakenings. Humanity, for the first time, confronted the tangible evidence that gods had always existed. But now, one had returned, and that God was you. Every myth ever told, every divine tale whispered through generations, suddenly gained new meaning. Gods of the past, their triumphs and tragedies were not merely stories, they were foreshadowing your arrival. The Greeks Zeus, the Egyptians Ra, the Hindus Vishnu, all pale in comparison, yet each bore echoes of what you had now become. Philosophers who had debated divinity and morality in vain suddenly realized the answers were alive, walking among them. Your existence was the bridge between history and eternity, the living proof that all spiritual thought was converging into a single reality. Even the skeptics felt an inexplicable pull. Anthropologists studying cultural myths reported chills down their spines as they traced symbols and rituals that had long puzzled humanity. Every recurring theme, the hero rising too early, the god walking among mortals, the universe bending under one presence, was now centered on you. You were the unifying thread that connected every fragmented philosophy of gods, proving that no matter the culture or era, the universe had always awaited your return. This connection was not merely intellectual. People around the world began experiencing flashes of insight, dreams in which myths unfolded with startling clarity. They remembered, deep within, the stories of gods and divine beings. But this time, they recognized the truth. They were not just tales, they were memories of your essence. Ordinary lives suddenly intersected with cosmic narratives, revealing a universe far more alive than anyone had dared imagine. Artists, poets, and creators found themselves drawn to portray you. Yet every attempt fell short of capturing your full grandeur. Paintings, music, and literature trembled under your influence, as if the very act of creation recognized its source. Each brushstroke, each note, each word attempted to mirror the presence that was simultaneously terrifying and exquisite. You had become a living philosophy, a truth that surpassed the limitations of human imagination. The world's collective consciousness shifted, recognizing that the chosen one was no longer part of mythology or legend. You were the embodiment of all divine thought, a nexus where every culture, every belief, and every hope for transcendence converged. They were not attempts to invoke gods. They were preparation for your awakening, rituals encoded across generations to honor the one who would transcend them all. Every act you performed reshaped reality. Plants grew in impossible patterns, animals responded in uncanny ways, and natural phenomena aligned perfectly with your intentions. Your every step echoed the rhythms of creation, showing that you were not just a participant in the universe, you were the orchestrator of its hidden harmonies. Those who witnessed you firsthand felt a profound combination of fear, awe, and devotion. It was a living testament that the Chosen One's authority was not borrowed, not inherited. It was innate, absolute, and undeniable. Your actions were proof that divinity could walk among mortals and remain entirely beyond comprehension. Every sacred text, every prophecy, whispered by priests and mystics across millennia, suddenly revealed its true meaning. The old scrolls, carefully guarded in temples, libraries, and hidden vaults, were no longer vague allegories. They were detailed accounts pointing directly to you. Scholars and treasure hunters who had spent decades deciphering these texts were left in awe, realizing that what they had considered myths were in truth premonitions of your awakening. The stars themselves seemed to align in corroboration. Astronomers tracking celestial patterns observed anomalies that perfectly matched ancient astronomical predictions. Comets, eclipses, and planetary alignments echoed the prophecies, signaling that your arrival was not a random event, but a predetermined cosmic occurrence. Every culture, from the Mayans to the Sumerians, had encoded hints of your existence into their calendars and monuments. Even the skeptics could not ignore the patterns. Mathematical probabilities collapsed under the weight of your timing, presence, and actions. Statisticians and scientists were forced to concede that your manifestation had been preordained, not by chance, but by a force that transcended human understanding. History itself became a living testament, bending to reveal your connection to every prophecy ever recorded. The emotional impact of this revelation was profound. People around the world wept with recognition, as though their souls had remembered a truth they had long denied. Families, communities, and entire nations felt a subtle yet undeniable shift in reality, a sense of purpose, a sense of destiny, and the awareness that a being of ultimate power had emerged among them. Ultimately, your confirmation through ancient texts and prophecies reshaped humanity's understanding of divinity. The Chosen One was no longer speculation or legend. You were the living embodiment of every sacred promise, a force foretold and revered across cultures and ages, now walking the earth in undeniable glory. The moment you shifted, cameras captured what had never been imagined. News outlets, live streams, and social media erupted as the impossible became undeniable reality. People who had doubted miracles were now witnesses to an event that shattered every expectation of human possibility. Humanity's collective gaze turned to you, and in that instant, worship replaced skepticism. Your transformation was both terrifying and breathtaking. Flesh and energy merged in patterns that defied explanation, a luminous form radiating power, intelligence, and boundless awareness. Observers reported feelings that went beyond fear or awe. They experienced a deep spiritual recognition, as though a part of themselves had been reawakened. Every image, every frame, every video shared across the world spread ripples of devotion that transcended borders and beliefs. Governments, scientists, and religious authorities scrambled to comprehend what they had witnessed. Military satellites detected anomalies, communication networks faltered, and emergency sessions convened as humanity attempted to process your presence. Yet no protocol, no weapon, no philosophy could capture the full essence of the Chosen One. You had become an event larger than the planet itself, a phenomenon that would define the new age of human history. Children who saw glimpses of you in passing, in dreams or on screens, reported visions that left them awestruck. The elderly felt memories returning, long-forgotten connections to the cosmos reignited. Artists attempted to recreate your image, but each effort fell short, unable to capture the depth of power, beauty, and presence you exuded. Your existence had become a living narrative, a story the world could not turn away from. The result was a seismic shift in global consciousness. People everywhere adjusted their lives, beliefs, and priorities. The Chosen One was no longer abstract. Now, you were a tangible reality, commanding devotion and shaping the course of human destiny with a presence that transcended language, culture, and time. World leaders, elite councils, and religious authorities were forced to confront an undeniable truth. The Chosen One was above them all. Once unquestioned structures of power, governments, armies, corporate empires were humbled in your presence. strategic decisions, negotiations, and declarations became secondary to the recognition that a being beyond comprehension now walked among mortals. Scholars and spiritual authorities openly declared reverence for you, abandoning centuries of competition, debate, and hierarchy. The Pope, imams, rabbis, and monks, all once separate pillars of spiritual authority, acknowledged your sovereignty. Their declarations were not mere words. They were admissions that divinity had shifted, that humanity's previous understanding of gods had been eclipsed by your arrival. Even scientists and academics, the guardians of logic and reason, were forced to revise centuries of doctrine. Instruments failed, experiments collapsed, and evidence defied every known principle of physics, biology, and consciousness. Medical teams observed anomalies in your physiology that could not be explained, confirming that your form was not only immortal, but beyond the design of any earthly life. The emotional impact on humanity was profound. Awe replaced fear. Devotion replaced doubt. People felt that the Chosen One was not merely superior, but fundamentally necessary, a guiding force capable of transcending conflict, unifying disparate ideologies, and inspiring new levels of human achievement. Ultimately, institutions and authorities recognized that their former roles were dwarfed by your presence. Humanity, once divided and fragmented, now had a focal point of unifying reverence. You had become the apex of all earthly and divine structures, a living proof that a new era had begun under the guidance of the Chosen One. The Chosen One does not act randomly. Every movement, every choice, every signal sent ripples across reality itself. Your influence reshapes ecosystems, redirects energy flows, and subtly reorganizes the laws of physics to align with the unfolding of a higher cosmic plan. People and nations alike feel the consequences of your actions in both tangible and spiritual ways. Creation itself responds to your presence. Trees grow in patterns that seem intentional. Weather aligns with your will, and natural disasters either avert or occur to signify your power. Animals exhibit reverence, instinctively recognizing your authority. Human consciousness expands in ways previously thought impossible, as if your energy activates dormant capabilities within every living being. Historical narratives are rewritten through your actions. You are no longer merely an observer of humanity. You are the defining force of its evolution. Every act of compassion, every demonstration of power, and every ripple of presence shapes the trajectory of civilization. Leaders follow your example, not by command, but through awe and inspiration. Your actions also redefine morality and ethics. Humanity witnesses a form of divinity that embodies balance, strength tempered with wisdom, fear interlaced with benevolence, and judgment tempered with creation. People feel compelled to reconsider their values, aligning their lives with the presence of a being who embodies ultimate truth. Ultimately, your deeds inaugurate a new age of divinity. The Chosen One is not merely a god to worship. You are a living, active force, reshaping reality and guiding humanity into a universe where divinity is not distant, but immediate, intimate, and undeniable. Ancient deities, once believed to be the pinnacle of power, now pale in comparison. Zeus, Ra, Odin, Vishnu, and countless others, each represented fragmented visions of the divine. You, the Chosen One, have unified and surpassed all their power, presence, and wisdom. Observers witness a being whose authority is both limitless and harmonious, combining the strengths of every god ever imagined. Even scholars of theology are forced to reconcile this new reality. Texts that once suggested limits to divine power now seem laughably insufficient. Your abilities defy categorization. Omniscience, omnipotence, omnipresence, and beyond, all wrapped into a single living form. The universe itself responds in recognition, with stars, planets, and cosmic events bending subtly to reflect your supremacy. Your presence also reshapes cultural understanding. Myths and legends are no longer mere stories. They are historical footnotes leading up to your emergence. Children learn about divinity not as distant figures, but as a prelude to the chosen one. Past gods were fragmented reflections, but you are the complete, harmonious, and unchallengeable embodiment of everything that divinity could ever aspire to be. All the ancient markers of a supreme divinity are present in you. Prophets, mystics, and seers who spoke of the last divine now witness confirmation in real time. Celestial events, earthly anomalies, and spiritual awakenings coincide perfectly with ancient descriptions, leaving no room for doubt. Humanity is witnessing the literal fulfillment of the oldest prophecies. Medical teams studying you observe impossible signs, a heart that never weakens, neurons firing in patterns beyond comprehension, and energy levels that defy every known law of biology. Even diagnostic tools fail to quantify your essence. You are the living proof that the last divine exists, a phenomenon predicted across civilizations and ages. Cultural practices, once thought symbolic, suddenly take on concrete meaning. Rituals, prayers, and offerings in every faith now appear as acknowledgments of your presence. Humanity realizes that their ancestors encoded this truth in myths, art, and architecture, preparing the world for your inevitable emergence. Even global consciousness shifts. Across continents, people report visions, dreams, and spiritual experiences directly tied to your presence. Humanity collectively acknowledges that the era of limited divinity has ended and a new epoch has begun under the Chosen One. The signs are undeniable, the manifestations overwhelming, and the truth inescapable. The Chosen One is the last divine, the final and ultimate incarnation of power and wisdom in a universe long awaiting its awakening. Leaders, scholars, and everyday people alike now look upon you as the defining divinity of the modern cosmos. The recognition is universal. Your presence signals not just divine authority, but the dawn of a new era in which humanity's understanding of life, energy, and morality is forever transformed. Global worship is not coerced. It arises naturally from the awe and inspiration you inspire. Temples, cathedrals, mosques, and sacred sites now reverberate with prayers and devotion directed toward the Chosen One. The world has collectively decided, you are the God of the new universe, above all previous powers, guiding existence with wisdom and absolute authority. Even the most rational minds accept the truth. Scientists, economists, politicians, and spiritual leaders recognize that the scale of your influence is unmatched. Policies, technological developments, and philosophical thought begin to shift in accordance with the energy you radiate, signaling the beginning of a new global consciousness aligned with your presence. Children growing up in this era will never know divinity as a distant concept. They will know it as immediate, living, and present. Humanity will adapt its culture, education, and spirituality around the Chosen One, creating a civilization that reflects the harmony, power, and guidance you embody. Ultimately, recognition of your divinity is not mere adoration. It is acknowledgement of the truth. Humanity now sees the universe as it truly is, with the Chosen One at its center, a beacon of power, wisdom, and transcendence beyond all former understanding. You are not merely a god, you are the threshold to a new cosmic reality. Your awakening signals the beginning of an age where limits dissolve, consciousness expands, and the universe itself is guided by a being of ultimate power and vision. The Chosen One is the axis around which the new cosmos will turn. Every action, thought, and presence you exert shapes the foundations of a new reality. Stars, planets, and even the fabric of time respond to your will, creating an era in which divinity is tangible, present, and transformative. Humanity is no longer a passive observer of the universe, it is now a participant in a cosmic story defined by the Chosen One. Religions, myths, philosophies, and sciences are reborn through your influence. Knowledge, ethics, and creativity expand exponentially as humanity strives to align with the consciousness of the last divine. Civilization itself enters a phase of unprecedented harmony, discovery, and spiritual awakening, guided by your example. Your presence inspires awe, devotion, and profound understanding. Mortals recognize the vastness of your power and wisdom, yet also feel the intimacy of your guidance. You are terrifying in your might, beautiful in your essence, and eternal in your influence. A living paradox that defines the future of existence. This is the true beginning. The era of the last divine has dawned, and the Chosen One will forever shape the universe, guiding every being toward a new understanding of life, divinity, and the infinite potential of existence itself. Humanity now steps into a cosmic reality where the impossible becomes the norm, all under the gaze and guidance of the Chosen One. Every living being felt this resonance in ways that words could not capture, a deep, primal acknowledgement that something greater had arrived. The resonance was more than physical, it was spiritual. Children awoke with knowledge they had never learned. Artists found their hands guided by unseen forces, creating masterpieces that seemed touched by divinity. Even skeptics reported inexplicable sensations, as if a melody of the cosmos was calling directly to their souls. Religious institutions documented miracles occurring worldwide, all in synchronization with your frequency. Temples, churches, mosques, and sacred sites resonated with a new energy, a vibration that harmonized with the cosmic laws you carried within. Humanity began to understand that divinity was no longer a concept. It was a living, breathing force centered in you. Governments and scientists attempted to measure this energy, but instruments failed. Satellites malfunctioned, laboratories recorded impossible data, and communication systems were temporarily disrupted. The resonance was beyond technology, beyond human understanding. It existed on a plane only accessible to the divine. Emotionally, people experienced simultaneous fear and comfort, awe intertwined with hope, realizing that a force capable of both terrifying power and profound guidance had entered the world. The Chosen One's cosmic resonance was not just a phenomenon. It was the awakening of humanity's potential under your divine influence. What you embodied could not be contained or predicted. Your power radiated in ways that broke conventional limits. Nature, physics, and consciousness were all altered simply by your existence. Every action you took, even seemingly small gestures, rippled outward, creating effects that were immediate and profound. Lightning struck in patterns that mirrored your movements. Oceans shifted without tides. Volcanoes rumbled as if acknowledging your dominance. Scholars scrambled to explain phenomena that had no precedent, while mystics recognized them as signs of your ultimate authority. Your power was a language itself, one that spoke directly to the universe and all its inhabitants. Every individual in your presence felt the force of this power. Animals paused in reverence, trees seemed to bend toward your gaze, and people experienced involuntary awe. Even the air felt alive, charged with a tension that made hearts race and spirits stir. Humanity recognized instinctively that you were not merely a figure. They were in the presence of something immeasurable. Emotionally, the world oscillated between fear and reverence. The sheer magnitude of your presence inspired worship, awe, and devotion. No one could remain indifferent, as if the universe itself had chosen this moment to reveal the full spectrum of divine authority through you. Ultimately, your unleashed power demonstrated that divinity is not a passive force. It is active, transformative, and capable of rewriting the rules of existence. The Chosen One had arrived, not quietly, but with a force the world could never forget. Across continents, people felt the shift. From remote villages to bustling cities, humanity experienced a collective awakening. People reported visions, dreams, and unexplainable encounters that confirmed the same truth. The Chosen One had arrived, a being whose essence transcended all prior conceptions of godhood. Social media, news outlets, and live streams carried thousands of accounts of encounters. Individuals who had never believed in miracles or prophecies felt compelled to witness, record, and share the divine event. Humanity was not just witnessing history, it was collectively participating in the awakening of a force older than time. This revelation affected daily life. Leaders consulted spiritual advisors, scientists paused experiments, and artists abandoned traditional forms to capture glimpses of your essence. Even ordinary people changed their routines, seeking ways to honor, understand, or align with your presence. The world was collectively acknowledging a power that could not be denied. Emotionally, the revelation was transformative. Communities experienced moments of unprecedented unity as divisions of culture, religion, and politics momentarily dissolved. For the first time, people felt a shared purpose, a recognition of a higher truth that surpassed personal or societal limitations. Ultimately, humanity's collective revelation marked the beginning of a global awakening. The Chosen One had become the axis of human consciousness, a force that reshaped not only beliefs, but the very perception of reality itself. Your form was more than mere physicality. It was a convergence of cosmic, spiritual, and eternal design. Medical teams, scientists, and mystics all struggled to comprehend your anatomy as it defied every known principle of life. Energy flowed through you in patterns that suggested intelligence, awareness, and purpose beyond human understanding.